Was hat das mit Musik zu tun?
Hi, I'm Heinbach, and it's good to have you back. This video deals with the difficult topic of politics in music. And I just ask one thing of you. If you go into the comments, whatever your political opinions are, just be kind. In the German city of Halle, just 2 years ago, a right-wing terrorist live-streamed his attack on a synagogue. He failed to break in and instead shot dead a woman passing by and a guest in a kebab shop before police arrested him after a shootout in which 2 officers were hurt. This violent attack and the general rise of the far right made me a bit fearful and apprehensive, but also convinced me I need to undertake this project that I want to talk about in this video. The Impuls Festival in Halle is a festival for new music, neue Musik, avant-garde. It has been going on for a few years and it was home for many composers to put out their new pieces. In the past 2 years it came under scrutiny by the far right-wing party AfD, who did not like being criticized by pieces that were performed there. So they did something that's pretty unheard of in all of German politics. They put the festival in their party program with the stated goal of defunding it should they be elected. Instead of this non-patriotic affair that they saw the festival to be, they wanted to put in something that would emphasize the Germanness and German nationality. And they wanted to fund a neo-folk ensemble. I kid you not. What might seem funny is not funny at all when you realize that the AfD is the second biggest party in Saxony. The CDU, which is the party of Angela Merkel, took over some of the ideas from the far right, such as defunding the festival in advance of the election. So the AfD got the result. The festival was defunded. But private sponsors saw what was happening and said, this can't be. So they stepped in and footed the bill so the festival could happen, if a bit more improvised than before. And this is where I come in. Julian Rieken, the co-curator of the festival, asked me if I want to perform there, and he told me the whole story that I just told you over a coffee. And I immediately knew I had to do something. A right-wing political movement that tries to cancel a critical avant-garde music festival and promotes nationalistic musical ideas in a town that has just seen one of the most horrific anti-Semitic terror attacks of recent history. I could not let that pass, and I felt I had the perfect instrument for that. A while back I struggled, as probably every YouTuber does, with hate comments that I got underneath my videos.
So this is what you guys do while your countries burn around you?
I needed a way to deal with them, so I thought, why not put these on magnetic tape and then slowly make them fade out by rubbing off the magnetic material with sandpapers, box cutters and knife. This became hate loops. And to this day, it's one of the most beautiful things that I think I've done on YouTube.
Fucking weirdo millennials.
The 6-hour process offered me catharsis as I heard all the comments looped again and again. And I went through all these states of anger, of tiredness, of fun, of laughing at them. But even before that, every hate comment that I got before became like a game of shitty Pokemon. So I had to collect all of them and I compared them with Simon the Magpie, who was also involved. They lost all their sting. And I hoped I could do something for the festival like that. Julian collected the hate they'd gotten from the party program of the AfD, speeches in parliament and private hate mail the head curator Hans Rothmeidt received. Hans read the hate mail himself, and wherever we couldn't get the original audio from the politician, professional voice actors stepped in or staff of the festival. And I made a collage out of that I then put onto tape machines.
Kultur statt Multikulti.
Deshalb taugt diese Kunst und Kultur auch so rein gar nichts. Sie ist nichts anderes als eine Lobdichtung auf das linke Menschenbild, eine fade Panegyrik, die selbst die unpolitischste Kunst überhaupt, die Musik, zur Posaune des linksliberalen Establishments degradiert.
Neue Musik ist ein gewöhnungsbedürftiges Genre, das nur ein kleines Spartenpublikum anspricht.
Ich verweise dazu nur auf die besonders peinlichen Ausfälligkeiten auf dem sogenannten Impulsfestival für neue Musik, wo schon Reden des US-Präsidenten Donald Trump musikalisch kritisiert oder die AfD angeprangert wurde. Was hat das mit Musik zu tun?
Authentisch ist, was in der eigenen Nationalkultur verwurzelt ist.
Ist es Sinn der Sache, dass Absolventen irgendwelcher Musikhochschulen, egal woher sie kommen, aus Chile, aus Schleswig-Holstein, aus Frankreich, ausgerechnet in Sachsen-Anhalt ihre Werke präsentieren müssen?
Die können ihre Trompete später ertönen lassen, sollen ihr Hobby selbst finanzieren.
Das Impulsfestival ist ein Negativbeispiel einer parteipolitisch abhängigen Musiknische.
Wer der Instrumentalmusik als dem übersprachlichen Ausdruck von Stimmungslagen politische Botschaften aufzwingt, der versteht nichts von Kunst, der zeigt, dass er bereit ist, die Kunst auf dem Altar der Politik zu opfern.
Stattdessen würden wir die vielfältigen und vitalen Tendenzen des sogenannten Neofolk fördern und ein deutschsprachiges Neofolk-Ensemble ins Leben rufen.
Eine Agitation gegen das eigene Volk muss nicht durch den Staat, der aus diesem Volk besteht, finanziert werden.
Du hast hier nichts zu suchen. Wenn du nicht aufpasst, nehmen wir dir den Taktstock weg.
Die AfD bekennt sich zur kulturellen Identität unserer Heimat.
Kunstfreiheit ist ein Anspruch gegen den Staat, keinen Repressionen ausgesetzt zu werden. Wenn aber der Staat Geld für etwas gibt, dann ist es selbstverständlich, dass er ein Wörtchen mitzureden hat, wenn es darum geht, was mit diesem Geld angestellt wird.
Ich finde es gut, wenn junge Dirigenten und Komponisten neue Stücke vortragen. Aber eines finde ich nicht gut, wenn diese jungen Leute von einem Intendanten politisch verführt werden.
It was broadcast in two ways, both beautiful and important in their own way. First, a speaker outside of the gallery, so passers-by in the busy street could stop and listen and look through the window and read the program note. Second, it was a live stream, and the live stream was supposed to run for the full 5 days of the festival. But it was cut short after only 17 hours had passed. And that led to one of the most interesting contacts I had over this whole time. My friend and curator Felix, who was with me on this trip, had joked before that he was hired as muscle because he was also apprehensive of the whole situation going to Halle. My wife asked if it was okay that I go, and every time I told friends about that, they put a long emphasis on take care. From Berlin, not knowing Halle at all, it looked like I was going to a very dangerous place. When I realized at 6:15 on the second day of the installation that the live stream had stopped, I was immediately awake because I feared the worst. I saw like hordes of skinheads trampling the gallery and destroying all the tape machines. I would just come there and there would just be a mess and torn tape. I left the hotel with quite an anxious feeling, not really knowing what I would be discovering when I went to the gallery. But no windows were smashed, no doors broken open, and as I tried to figure out what was wrong, the sun came up and people started to walk by to go to their jobs and school kids to school, and a little girl and her mother stopped. The girl's eyes went wide and she followed the tape and she looked at the machine and she went along the side of the glass, the whole window pane and back. She went to the speaker, listened to that, came back, and she was mesmerized, and her mother too, and they both tried to find out what it was all about. And then they found a note that said what this performance did, and they listened a bit more, and when we made eye contact, both of them gave me a double thumbs up, and that made it so worth being there with little sleep and a broken stream, because it was a very human moment, and it meant that for someone there in the city where all this horrible stuff happened, at least this had meant something. I could not get the stream back up because the mobile cube they had used to get internet into the gallery, which didn't have internet, was simply done after 17 hours of high definition streaming. So I said, come on, it's fine. Let's just play it in the place for the people that this was meant for. So even I don't know how it sounded in the end after all the destruction has been applied. But you can check out my other destruction loops or the original hate loops video to get a notion of what this process does to sound and the beautifully fading effect that it has to things that plague you. Probably the biggest success is that the festival happened despite the very public efforts of the AfD and even parts of the CDU to not make it happen. If you want to learn more about the origin and the technicalities of the destruction loops, I've made a playlist that you can watch here. And if you want to make your own, go ahead. Say maybe, inspired by Heinbach or something, and do send me a link if you do so. I'd love to hear what you're doing. I've put the original track that you heard on my Patreon. And Patreon is how I'm able to spend all the time making these videos. And consider supporting what I do there. It really helps. And that's it for this video. If you have any more questions, do leave in the comments below or visit the subreddit. Thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.